Great. So we'll get started right on time today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Chamber of Commerce First Friday Forum. Today we have a special edition of our First Friday Forum. It's a candidates forum, and we're going to get to hear from the candidates that are running for City Commission, which we're really excited about. Now, this is a forum, not a debate. So we're going to give the candidates an opportunity to tell you about themselves, to tell everyone why they're running for City Commission, give us their top 3 priorities, and we'll have time for a question or two. The questions were developed by Michael Weiner, who can't be with us today because he is racing his motorcycle in Sebring, and I'm not even kidding about that. So the interesting lives of my board members. David Beal's actually in the Virgin Islands working. So you're stuck with me today, but I'm really excited to be able to welcome all of our candidates. But first, what we're going to do is get right into our community partner reports before we start at 9:20 with Angeleta Gary. She'll be our first speaker today. So quick updates for the chamber. We're really excited about Delray Morning Live. In January, February, and March, we're going to be airing Best of Delray Morning Live on CBS 12 and the CW, which is exciting. So this past weekend, it ran 4 times on CBS 12 and the CW. In February, we're going to be running on February 25th and 26th, and then on March 25th and 26th. And the show times are different. One is right after the evening news at 11:30 p.m. Some mornings are at 9:30, at 5:30. So there's lots of times that you can watch Delray Morning Live, but we really wanted to put Delray on the map to a wider audience to talk about what's going on in Delray Beach. So we'll be very excited for you guys to tune into that on television. We had a great grand opening last night for Cabby that was here at the chamber. On February 7th, we've got our nonprofit council lunchtime. On February 8th, we have another grand opening at Pixelworks, which is over in the Andre Design Center. So we're excited about that. And on February 9th, we've got our Galentine's event, Be My Cup of Tea. It's a lovely tea service that's going to take place at Chapel 4. So sign up for it soon. We're about to cut off registration for that because we're nearly at capacity. The Chamber Bash is held every year at the Delray Beach Open. So that's the chambers from Boca, Delray, and Boynton. Boynton Chamber is part of the Boca Chamber. So please sign up for that. It includes tickets to the tennis matches, which is a lot of fun. And we're also cocktails, sorry for the typo, on February 16th at My Body Works Wellness. And on February 22nd, we have a special event. It's the Young Professionals Meet Our Chamber VIPs at Bar 25. So Chairman's Club members and board members are going to meet our young professionals and get to know them. It's a great opportunity for both, I think. So we're going to jump right into our reports, our partner reports. So the first person I see on my screen is Sarah Maxfield. So Sarah, we'll start with the city, and why don't you give us a quick update?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I just have a couple of updates. One is obviously, many of you know, much of my time has been spent on managing the project for the golf course redevelopment. There will be a workshop on February 7th on Tuesday in Chambers, at which will be presented by our partners and staff, CBRE and staff, overviews of each of the proposals that were received. Just to get a flavor, we'll be seeking direction from from commission members on which of those proposals I'd like to bring back for full presentations on that of the proposer. So that's really exciting. It's been a long road, and we're really excited to get to this place. So that's February 7th at 2 o'clock. If you're interested, most of you know workshops are there's no public comment at workshops. It's just for the chamber to have the chamber commission members to have a discussion about what's presented to them. But it's open to the public, obviously, and anyone who wants to join, and it will be televised as well. The other thing I wanted to share is that the Congress Avenue planning is moving forward. That is being spearheaded by my department and development services. And we have some consultants that have been working and doing some technical deep dives on what's going on there in the corridor, because we know that it's not reaching its full potential. So we want to really look at what's happening, get feedback from the businesses. That's all been happening low and slow and under the radar, but we will be presenting initial findings at the planning and zoning meeting at the end of this month, just to get some feedback from the P&Z board. So that's moving forward as well. So as far as the projects from my perspective, those are my updates, and happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you. Does
Welcome.
anyone have any questions for Sarah? Raise your hand. Okay. So Kent Edwards, we can hear you. Your speaker is working just fine. So I know you probably have some updates on Earth Day and some other things that are going on. Do you want to dive in and tell us what's going on?
Yes. Good morning, Stephanie. I'm going to leave my camera off. I'm a little under the weather this morning. But we've been doing a lot of work with trees. We had a planting at Spady Museum and CRA and a tree giveaway on January 21st. On February 4th, is coming Saturday, we have 70 trees that are going to be put in on Southwest 10th Avenue and Wallace in retention areas that are really going to be a nice feature. Overall, we have 359 trees that have been planted on city property or planned for that, and we have another 40 or so. So we are very close to our 500 goal. We have 800 partner trees that have been planted or are planned for planting. A lot of those are at schools, so Carver and Atlantic, and coming up at Plamosa. We also have a GIS layer of data that's really going to help us in our planning activities. So we'll have our information on our tree resources in there and available. We have habitat restoration work that's been done at Orchard View and at Atlantic Dunes Park. At Atlantic Dunes, it was focusing on the Brazilian pepper. So we've opened up some really nice canopy if you walk along the trails there. And we are starting to look at Bexley Park and what we can do there. So some really, really good habitat resilience work. A couple of grant applications that we're putting together, the EPA recycling, education, and outreach. It's going to be a difficult one to get, but we're going to make a try. Also, the energy efficiency community block grant, $128,000 through that federal program. And so anything from EVs to alternative energy. We have the Green Board that's going to make a report to Commission on on February 21st. And one of their recommendations is going to be to look at plastic legislation. So plastic legislation in Florida legislative sessions such as HB 363 is being put forward. So those are kind of the updates. Earth Day we're going to plan for, and next month I'll talk about that more.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ken. So I see Renee Jadising is ready and raring to go, and I'm sure you have an update from the CRA. Do you want to chime in, Renee?
Sure. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I'll cover a couple things, our commercial development projects and also housing. So on the commercial development front, if you travel down Fifth Avenue, 98 Northwest Fifth is really, really coming along very well. We anticipate it to be finishing up in the next few months. So of course, everyone will be invited to the ribbon cutting as we're transforming the Fifth Avenue corridor. We also, at our January CRA board meeting, we approved a contractor to start building 95 Southwest Fifth Avenue. So that's on the other side. We're kind of doing a bookend thing. We get the north and the south side. So we anticipate starting construction soon. We're into contract negotiations now, but we do have a contractor selected, so we will start that project soon. Also, if you traveled by Libby Wesley on Saturday, we had the Crafted on the Avenue. We started that last year. We're carrying it through this year. I have to say, I think the one we had last weekend was the best of all. We had wonderful vendors, tons of foot traffic, and the first thing I noticed in all the time we've been Crafted is we had a lot of people traveling from the Green Market and walking down to the Libby Wesley Plaza. So I think that's really significant because I think that's what everyone wants, that connectivity, and that what this project was all about. It also can feed into our commercial spaces for small businesses. So if you know anybody who is interested in either a space at Crafted or potentially a space later at 98 Northwest 5th, please call our office. We are taking names. We don't have the process out just yet for 98 Northwest 5th, but we wanted to do a really good outreach effort to make sure that we get a lot of people on lists and interested, because we have that space, we'll have 95, and hopefully we'll keep getting more properties to build more. On the housing front, Carver Square, we have 10 homes that are completed. We just had 5 more that received CO this week. And there's the 10 more to go. And they anticipate that they'll be finished probably the next couple months. So very exciting to bring 20 single family homes for workforce housing to our community. We're also actively looking for acquisitions. We have some that we're looking at, but property, as everyone knows, is, really important, really hard to come by and very expensive. But we're here, we're appraising properties as they come. We've been thankful to have people just walking into our door wanting to sell property. So it's a call out to anyone. If you know anyone interested in properties, we're happy to look at it, get it appraised. And if we're interested, you can sell it to us and put it to a good use. Also Habitat for, I think it's Greater Palm Beach County now, their women's build is in Delray Beach on a lot that the CRA sold to Habitat a few years ago. So we're super excited for this project. There'll be 2 new families on these homes, and there's information on Habitat's website about the build and how to participate in the women's build coming up in March. Lastly, our next board meeting is February 28th at 4 p.m. at Arts Warehouse. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. That's a lot. I appreciate that.
Always so much.
I know.
Thank you.
So I see that Chief Tommy is on. Chief, do you want to give us a quick update from the fire department?
Sure, I'll be really quick. I only have 2 things. I mentioned it last week, but next week you'll see some of our firefighters out there installing some new Knox box cylinders. So the Knox boxes, you guys know, are the boxes outside your businesses. So you'll see our firefighters out there. They'll be replacing the cylinder so that we can use an electronic key fob now to open that Knox box to be able to get into your business if there's an emergency. So we have that going on next week, and then it'll take us all the way through February, probably into March, before we get all the businesses completed. And the last thing is that we are hiring. We're hiring firefighter paramedics and firefighter EMT. So if you know somebody, please let them know, fill out an application, and we'd love to have them on board. And I'm willing to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Chief? No, you guys are buzzing through this today. Okay, well done. I know that Jackie Ramirez from the SBDC has a couple of announcements. Jackie, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Stephanie. I just want to let everyone know that the Florida South SBDC holds an annual small business summit every year. It's usually in Tampa or Orlando or somewhere else. This year it's going to be in Fort Lauderdale, so it's close by. It's 2 days. It's a combination of all of the consulting teams coming in and having some professional development, but we also open it up to all small businesses. So a small business can register, come get a lot of inspiration, training, education, networking. And all the feedback is always glowing from the small business owners who actually get to meet and get real-time consulting and real-time connections. So that is August 2nd through the 3rd. It's in Fort Lauderdale at the Westin. You'll be receiving much more information on it, and I'm going to put a link to it just launched, the opening, the information. So plan for that. It's up until June, it's about $200. After that, it's $250, but it's a really good conference dedicated solely to small business owners. Thank you.
That's excellent. We'll definitely help to promote that to our constituency as well. So thank you, Jackie. We have 1 or 2 minutes, so quickly. Steve Weissman's on from the Property Appraiser's Office. He usually has a quick update. Steve, did you have anything you wanted to update?
Oh, I definitely do.
Okay.
A couple things. There is a deadline coming up March 1st, which is the deadline to e-file for homestead. You can file after that, but you're going to have to go into the office and bring all your documentation as opposed to online, which is really easy. You just fill in all the information and send it in. We'll send you a PIN and you'll get notified whether you got it or not. It's also the deadline for all special exemptions So an agricultural classification, limited income senior, granny flats, and things like that. There are some exemption changes for 2023 the legislature passed. These are ones not tied to any income. There's civilian disability went from 500 to 5,000. What we mean by civilian is there's a different set for veterans who were at service related. The widow and widower went from 500 to 5,000, as did legally blind and quadriplegic. So those all went up. You can see those on our website. There is also the legislature passed a super senior exemption, which has to be determined by local ordinance. It's for a market value under 250,000. Person has been a permanent resident there for 25 years with limited income, which for the 2023 is 35,167 adjusted gross. And of course, they have to be 65 years old. This has already been adopted by Boynton Beach, the full amount up to 250. We've got several pending. North Palm Beach is also talking about doing the full. Lake Clark Shores, 10,000, Juno Beach, 50,000, Green Acres 5. And our South County office is at Cumberland and Atlantic, the old library we share with the building with the sheriff's office there. And if you have questions, you can go there. And one thing that I'm sure everybody's wondering about, what has happened overall in the county with property values? Well, we did an analysis, and starting with December of 2021 go as 0, we hit a high in June, which means if you bought your house last June, it's now from this point forward, it's gone down 12%. You bought it at the top of the market, it wasn't good. But as of January, we're still 4% overall higher than we were last year. So will assessments go up? Yes, not nearly as much as last year, but they will go up. Commercial sales are down, condo sales are down, residential sales are down. Commercial sales, however, only down 3%. The others are down about 25%. New construction, however, is up. Single family homes, 10%. Condominiums are down 32%. And new commercial construction is up in the county almost 50%. So development still happening, notwithstanding all the inflation. Another thing you should know about is the Live Local Act, which is Senate Bill 102 that they're talking about. It's an $811 million housing bill that provides money and incentives. But the one thing for anybody from the city there is it prohibits local governments from imposing rent controls. So that's
Okay.
what's new in the housing and real estate market in Palm Beach County.
That is a lot, Steve. I think you're going to need your own show one day. It's always interesting. So we're right on schedule. I'm going to probably have to have Michael Corbett from Career Source go after, because we need to get started with our candidates forum. But thank you guys so much for zooming in and being brief with our reports today. So I'm going to get started right now. I'm going to introduce our first candidate, which is Angeleta Gary. She's running for seat 4 for the City Commission. And like I mentioned before, she's going to give us a brief bio. She's going to say why she's running for City Commission, and she's going to let us know what her top 3 priorities are. So over to you, Angeleta.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Angie Gray, and hi, I'm Angie Gray, and I am a candidate for Delray Beach City Commission seat 4. Seat 4 is an open seat. Shirley Johnson will be term limited out, but let me share a little bit about me. I am a 47-year resident of Delray Beach and have been actively involved in not only Delray Beach, but Palm Beach County for the past 15 years. I previously served as a Delray Beach City Commissioner from 2009 to 2014, and I served as your Vice Mayor from 2011 to 2012. I currently serve on the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency Board, from 2018 until now, and have served as your Vice Chair since 2019. I also currently serve on the Solid Waste Authority Small Business Advisory Board, and I've been there since 2019. I previously served on the Community Redevelopment Agency Board from 2007 to 2009. I'm a former member of the National Leagues of Cities and a former board member of the Palm Beach County Leagues of City. I've also previously served as a board member of the Palm Beach County Healthcare District, where I implemented expanding our dental program. I am a former member of the South Central Regional Wastewater Treatment and Disposal Board, to name just a few. I am a member of the Broward, Palm Beach, and St. Lucie Realtors Association. I am also a small business owner. I own Graco Construction and related services, and I'm a realtor with Reliant Realty, powered by ERA, as well as a member of the National Association of Black Women in Construction. I am also the former secretary for Florida Black Caucus of local elected officials. As you may know, this is an open seat. Commissioner Shirley Johnson will be term limited out, and next year, we will have 3 seats that will be term limited out. That is the mayor seat and 2 commission seats. And I really want you to think about that, because we will have the mayor seat and 2 commissioner seats open. And on top of all that, we have the city manager is still going through our Delray Beach learning curve. That is why it is so important to support me, Angie Gray. I bring my qualifications, my experience, and my institutional knowledge with me to City Hall. I will hit the ground running from day one. My priorities include creating safe neighborhoods for all, overdevelopment, traffic, parking, and aging infrastructure, and addressing our workforce and essential housing. Creating safe neighborhoods for all, everyone has the right to feel that their neighborhood is safe, and that their community has police presence, proper lighting, sidewalks. If they want them, sidewalks, paved roads, and alleyways. Overdevelopment is number 1. We are losing our charm. We are losing our village by the sea. I want to protect and I want to preserve that. From day one, I will look at revisiting and revising our land development regulations to ensure compatibility and smart future development, so that together we can determine where and what we want developed and what that looks like in our city. I know that we are growing, but we have to be smart about our growth. I want to preserve and to protect what is left of our village by the sea. We really don't have any other choice. Experience really does matter right now. Traffic, parking, infrastructure. Traffic is something that we are constantly looking at, how to control it. And to be honest, the only way to do that is to take into account our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is already in place. We are a village by the sea. If you don't believe me, look at downtown Atlantic Avenue. It is 2 lanes. The infrastructure, we can't build anymore. We can't expand it. On A1A, the infrastructure, 2 lanes, we can't expand that. Look at our infrastructure over there on Linton Boulevard and Swinton Avenue and Lake Ida. We can't build anymore. Our roads, they're 2-lane highways on Lake Ida and Swinton, and we just can't afford the extra road. So the best way to do is to be smart about our building and not to overbuild. Parking, I have visited our parking lots and garages on numerous occasions, and I found out even on the busiest days and the weekends that our Old School Square parking lot is never really full. When elected in a few weeks, I will propose to the rest of the commission that we take a look at our downtown, the Ping Pong Museum surface lot, which is currently being utilized by our employees, and they park there for free. Now, that's not a problem with them parking there for free, but that's a prime parking lot that we could charge. And not only if we could charge for that, we could get more turnover for our businesses so that we could shop, we could have more shoppers, and we could visit and have more visitors in our restaurants. But I would propose moving them to the Old School Square parking lot, which is never full, and that it would be free parking. I would look at for more places that we could add parking for our golf carts. Our aging infrastructure, serving on the CRA, we have been working on it, but there is still so much more. Road needs repaired, resurfacing, potholes need to be fixed, old pipes need replacing, we need lights. It all needs to be addressed. City Hall, our police department, and we need a citywide maintenance program. Workforce and essential housing, as we know, affordable housing is a big issue, not only in Delray Beach, but we heard about it today in Palm Beach County. As a realtor, I get calls every week from young and old asking about affordable, true affordable housing, and we just can't deliver. We don't have enough inventory. But as you know, I currently serve on the CRA board, and we have been doing our part in the last 5 years. You heard from Renee today. We have partnered with the CLT to build Corey Jones Alton homes. We are currently building 20 homes at Carver Square, and we have partnered with Pulte Homes to do that. We have and continue to partner with Habitat for Humanity, and we are partnering with the Housing Authority to build Island Cove affordable rental apartments. We, the CRA, have contributed in the form of a grant, $1 million towards their $20 million project. I know that we are in the housing crisis, and I will continue to look for ways to add true affordable housing to our inventory and to our city whenever possible. I am running to bring my qualification, experience, and years of institutional knowledge to the commission to lead and to protect our village by the sea. I believe in the potentials of our city and our resources. I have been married to Kenneth Gray for 36 years, to the same guy. We have 3 children and 11 grandchildren. I come with a I come from a serving family. My mother, Loretta McGee, was a member of the chamber. She was a member of the Pineapple Grove Committee, and she was training to be the city manager. City manager. Wow, the city clerk when she passed of cancer. My father, Sam McGee, was a founder of the TED Center. I have been endorsed by State Senator Bobby Powell, State Senator Lori Berman, County Commissioner Mac Bernard, County Commissioner Maria Sachs, School Board District Member Edward Ferguson, former Mayor Tom Carney, former Delray Beach City Commissioner Alberta McCarthy, former Delray Beach Commissioner Mitch Katz, former Delray Beach Commissioner Jimmy Weatherspoon, former Delray Beach Commissioner Gary Eliopoulos, former CRA Board Member Pamela Brinson, and hopefully you. Once again, my name is Angie Gray. Forget about the Angelitas, the Angelas, the Angie. Just remember Gray. Gray for Delray. I hope to earn your vote on or before Election Day, March the 14th. Vote for qualification, experience, and institutional knowledge. Thank you very much, Angie Gray.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much. I have time
Thank
for
you.
one quick question for you.
Yes.
And it's about affordable housing. So Delray Beach on the 2020 to the 2020 census has grown about 10%, and Palm Beach County grew about 35% between those different census taking. So what can we do to either initiate or maintain affordable housing?
Yes, so yeah, that's a really tough one. I'm really happy that the county has passed the bond, yay. That would hopefully make up for some of the lost housing that we should have had. 20,000 units should be adding to our stock. In the city of Delray Beach, we have been doing our parts, the CRA, by building the 20 units that you heard about today, building the 10 for Corey Owls, and helping assist with the affordable Delray Beach Housing Authority. And so I believe that, and we mentioned today about the Live Local Act, which is done by the state. And hopefully, if everyone could do their part, together, we can make this happen. We are so far behind on it, but we at least for the last 5 years, the city of Delray Beach or the CRA, we have been moving forward with it because it's just that important. We don't have any place for people to live that can't afford, our seniors, they can't afford to downsize, and our youth cannot afford to come back here and live, work, or to play, or even to raise their family here. So it is very important for us that if possible, when possible, that we add into our project or new projects that come to the city of Delray, workforce and essential and affordable housing is very important. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. So we're right on time. Thank you so much for participating today. We appreciate it. And we're going to go straight into meeting our next candidate for seat 4, which is Angela Burns. So Angela, are you with us?
I am trying to get my screen back up. I'm here.
We can see you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. So did you want me to go ahead and get started, introduce myself? I can't hear you, Stephanie.
We'd like you to give a brief bio. Tell us
Okay.
why you're running for city commission and what are your top 3 priorities. And I'm starting now.
Okay, thank you. So good morning again. First of all, I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this event and giving me an opportunity to introduce myself to the community and the other three candidates as well. I know that Delray appreciates it for any time that anybody wants to get involved and give back to the community. So my name is Angela Burns and I'm running for Delray Beach City Commission seat 4. I am a lifelong resident and have called Delray Beach home for the past 58 years. I've raised my 3 children here and I have 3 grandchildren as well. I was a public school teacher for 34 years, and I've always tried to find ways to give back, whether it's through my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta sorority, or other civic memberships of the Neighborhood Set Alliance. I've served as the chair of the Village Academy School Advisory Council for the last 8 years. I served 2 terms on the Education Advisory Board. I'm currently serving my 2nd term on the Affordable Housing Board, and I also serve on the Delray Beach Library Board. I have actively, since 19 years old, supported some civic engagement and just been involved. I've supported local small businesses and job creators and fought to improve the neighborhood for as long as I can remember. And that's because I care about this community. I'm running because over the last 6 decades, I've witnessed firsthand tremendous growth in our village by the sea. And I've watched it become a city by the sea with all the growth. I mean, from 2-lane highways down Atlantic Avenue to the sand, the mosquitoes, just a lot of growth, and much of it has been great. I have a vested interest in the future and the responsibility to my grandchildren and the hundreds of students that are now adults that I've taught and tried to make some change in their lives, impact their lives over the last 6 decades. I want my grandchildren and anybody that wants to stay here in Delray to be able to work, live, and play here. I have questions from my students over the years. Why can't we have nice things? And, and it's really hard to explain to children, why their neighborhood doesn't look like other neighborhoods in the same city that they live in. That's a hard one to swallow. So over the last 3 decades, 20 years or so, our city officials have failed to rebuild West Atlantic Avenue into a thriving residential and commercial neighborhood. We still live in blight. It seems that they would still rather spend money on lawsuits. So, it's been really hard walking and listening for the last decades, listening to the complaints and knowing the struggles that these people are going to. Whether it's homelessness, we have homelessness. I think about our students coming to school, they're sleeping in vans or cars in the Walmart parking lots. They come to school with the same clothes on and they're just embarrassed. And their parents are parents that are working. These are not parents that are not working, they're working. Just the affordability in Delray is really tremendous. I'm running because I believe that I can make a larger impact in our community by bringing a fresh voice to the commission, a voice that will fight for the issues that unite us. I love Delray and I'm not going anywhere. I bring 34 years of experience as an educator, which has taught me to be a good listener, a good decision maker. As a teacher, I was an educator, counselor, grandmother, auntie, advisor, not only to children, but to adults as well. I bring the experience of being a mother, a grandmother, 6 decades of walking side by side with people and understanding and feeling their struggles. I have a very dear friend and co-worker, ex-co-worker, now I'm retired, who is, as of the 27th of this month, she's going to be homeless. She lived with her mother and sister for the last 15 years. And the mom has decided that she's moving out of state. and she put her house up for sale, and they got a buyer. So on the 27th, she has to find a place to live, and her mother's giving her $10,000. That's not going to get her another home. So I'm diligently looking to help her find a place to live. Also, when I was out on the campaign trail, I met a young man that, well, he's retired, but he's legally blind. He's living with his sister. By the end of this month, he too is going to be homeless because his sister has to now take in her daughter and grandchild, and there's no space for him. So I took this information to the elders table, of which I'm a member, and we are diligently looking for a place to place him. These are the kinds of things that I encounter every day and have encountered for the last 30 years or so. Livable wages, a lack of health care, no health care, mental health issues, no access to services. So I bring a fresh voice, I bring energy, and I bring change to the commission. And I believe that working together as one Delray, we can keep Delray Beach safe, which is my priorities. Prioritize our first responders, fight for more affordable housing so that more families can live and work here and play right here in Delray Beach, ensure that our drinking water is clean, manage our city's success responsibly. You know, we are only as strong as our weakest link, and it seems that our weakest link is our leadership. And the city in many areas are just falling in disrepair. No maintenance to here, no maintenance to the golf course, no maintenance to the beach. You know, so many distractions with lawsuits and with personal vendettas, and the city is falling apart and it needs some repair. You know, I tell the story of I lost my husband to a car accident 10 years ago. It seems like yesterday, but 10 years ago. But my husband took care of my home, the yards, the inside, and now that's my responsibility. And I can't blame my falling doors off the hinges on my husband. I can't say it was his responsibility. It wasn't it's my responsibility. I have to take inventory of what's going on around here now and take the responsibility of doing those things. I am proud to be endorsed by our first responders, our professional firefighters of Delray, the Palm Beach County Police Benevolent Association, SEIU, which represents our service employees and our healthcare workers, the Palm Beach County Democratic Black Caucus, the Set Neighborhood Alliance, State Representative Joe Casello, former West Palm Beach Commissioner Richard Rouse, former Palm Beach County School Board member Dr. Deborah Robinson, former Delray Beach City Commissioner David Randolph, and many, many of our community leaders are supporting me because they know and they understand that I will work hard and work with everybody to make sure that our community is safe and that our community is acceptable to everybody. And I think one of the things that is missing is community voice, public input. You know, when you're making a recipe, I'm a great baker, I make cakes, but if I leave out the ingredients of my cake, then it doesn't taste good, nobody wants it. So we have to make sure that we're putting in everything, that we're working together to have one Delray so that we make it better for everybody. As I said, I look forward to earning your vote. I will focus on the issues that matter and that bring back the public input. As your next commissioner, I will lean on my experience on the city boards. My background as a teacher in the community for 34 years, advocacy for local business and entrepreneurs, and the commitment to service to get things done. I also, just something that touched my heart, I was knocking on doors last week and I met this young man who said he needed a job, this Haitian young man, and very smart young man. And I called one of our members of the Peach Umbrella Network, which I manage, and small business owner. And he called the young man, he hired him. He said he's very happy with his work. And I looked on my campaign report and this young man donated $2 to my campaign report. And I never talked to him about making a contribution. You know, I talked to him about if he was registered to vote. He told me about his job.
Oop.
I have a couple of minutes left.
No, we're
Okay.
out of time. That's your
Okay,
10
okay.
minutes. Oh, no, I wanted to ask you a quick question
Yes.
about traffic, but I hold on a second. Let me just see if we have our next speaker, Juli Casale. Julie, are you on? Okay, I don't see her yet, so I'm going to ask you a quick question, 30 seconds. Everyone complains about traffic in town. It's part of your campaign platform. Can you give us a 30-second answer on what your smart traffic solutions would be?
Yeah, well, well, quickly, I'll just say that we have a traffic study done. I read through a 150-page document, and I think it's an excellent work. It had the input of many people from our community. It complements our city's comprehension plan, and I think it should be implemented. And piece by piece, you know, specified in the city's annual budget. I think that we have a lot of plans and things that are put effort into that we don't use. So, you know, things like public parking, so that we have more walking instead of parking, having a parking area out west so that we can have more foot traffic. There are so many, that plan is packed with so much. So let's use it.
Okay, I have to stop. I have to stop you now. We have to be fair on time. Thank you so much. So I think Julie's joining right now. I just heard from her. In the meantime, we're waiting for her to join. I just want to remind everybody that Election Day is March 14th. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The deadline to register to vote is February 13th. And if you want to vote by mail, everyone has to re-register to vote by mail now. So if you want to do that, I put it in the chat. Go to votepalmbeach.gov and you can register for your vote by mail ballot if you want to. And the vote by mail ballots have to be in by 7 p.m. on voting day, which is March 14th. So with that, I'm gonna
Can I say
turn
goodbye?
it over to Juli Casale. I think she just zoomed in. Are you there, Julie? Okay, I'm texting her right now. You're just gonna have to hold on for me for a moment.
That's okay. Can I say goodbye?
Yes,
All
thank
right,
you
so
again. I meant to thank you. Thank you,
you so
Angela
much.
Burns. Thanks for joining us today.
Angela Burns, seat 4, first on the ballot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Julie says she's waiting to join. So Sarah, can you let her in? I think it's open. Everyone can join.
There is no waiting room.
Okay,
Can you see me or hear me? Hello?
I've got you. Okay,
Oh,
well
thank
done.
goodness. I am so sorry. My Zoom
worry.
link wasn't connecting and I had to remove the app, replace the app on my phone and start over.
I
Good
believe
morning.
we've all
Thank you.
been there. Okay.
Oh.
Well, so let me just introduce you briefly. This is Juli Casale. She's
you.
running for re-election for seat 2, and I'm going to start the timer right now.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Again, I apologize. And Stephanie, thank you so much. I know organizing this was a bit of a challenge and I appreciate that you did that. I am Juli Casale. I am your city commissioner in seat 2. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a tennis player, and I'm an 18-year resident of Delray Beach. I started coming in the 90s and my husband and I bought a home in 2005. I am raising my daughter in Delray Beach and I intend to stay here for the rest of my life. Prior to running for city commission in 2020, I ran a business in the state of Connecticut. I always tell people I tripped, stumbled, and fell into politics because that's how it felt. I got involved with opposing a project in my area. And I spent 2 years working with the land use attorney and the applicant and the property owner, and we finally came to a consensus and we got a project that everybody liked. And it was a great 2-year experience, which prompted me to attend the city commission meetings and ultimately gave me the desire to run. So I ran and won in 2020, and I got elected on the eve of COVID. We were experiencing unprecedented uncertainty. I got sworn in, and then the emails began coming in about the water situation. So we had COVID, we had water, we had city turnover with managers, and it was a really interesting time. But I feel so proud of our city and how we came together and we got through all these things. And I think we are really moving in the right direction. Some of the things that I have initiated are a coastal habitat conservation plan. The beach is not only our economic driver, it's also our source of pleasure. So it was important to me to protect that for the long term. I requested a study to implement diverse housing types into our regulations. You know, I think one of the things that the businesses really appreciate is our need to provide flexible zoning and regulations and development standards to promote innovative housing design and development concepts like cottage homes, tiny homes, and accessory dwelling units. And this will promote affordable housing, because diverse housing styles and affordable housing are very closely interrelated. So we need options in a range of prices, which is more likely when you have a range of housing choices. So that's one thing. I had requested an audit of the payroll process after studying 2 reports. The audit determined that we were, in fact, had some problems. We've since implemented a new time and attendance program, and we're in the process of doing that throughout the city, and that should save the taxpayers money. I also requested a contract administration person position be implemented, because we have a lot of contracts and sometimes we're not getting paid on them and we don't even realize immediately. These things aren't really glamorous, but they make a difference. And I'd be remiss if I didn't, make it clear that none of these accomplishments happen alone. They don't occur without the collaboration of the residents and the staff and all the hard work. And we do have amazing staff, and I'm thrilled to work with them. So I hope you consider me for re-election, because I would like to continue working with the staff and with the residents on some really important issues. And if you don't mind me just listing some of the things that I think that are important, are the historic overlay, which will protect the charm of our downtown. Our new water treatment facility, there's been so much talk about what is the quality of our water. It meets and exceeds the standards, but that doesn't mean we can't do better. And I'm really excited about the new water treatment plant. Right now, we have an owner's rep has been selected. And what we need to do is have an engineer extract up the water, determine exactly what the needs are for our city, and then move forward. And we're looking at $130 to $160 million treatment plant. I'm really excited about finally getting the golf course underway, and I'd love to continue working on that. And one of the initiatives that I requested at a CRA that we look to purchase the old Plumosa school site. It's a 4-acre property. I met with some of our community partners to see what this could actually be. And this would be a great property to accommodate affordable housing for seniors. That's the demographic that is most in need. Affordable housing for families and workforce housing. It's critically important that we are able to provide this in order to retain staff, so our businesses can retain staff in the area. The CRA consensus was everybody was in agreement. So we just have to figure out if we can in fact purchase that property. And if we do, it would be a great collaboration with the county, the school board, and all our community partners. So when you're looking at this upcoming election on March 14th, you have the benefit of 2 candidates who have voting records and voting histories on the same projects. And I think that puts things into perspective. And I would just ask everybody to please review those. Our records are very different. They reflect different visions for Delray. I've been true to my platform of 3 years, which is basically I'm less is more. I'm about historic preservation, and I'm really about our quality of life. I haven't looked for endorsements. They tend to come with strings attached and PAC money, and I'm not interested in receiving any PAC money. I'm working for the residents, and I will continue to work for the residents. And I hope they share my vision and elect me on March 14th. Thank you.
Okay, So this gives me time to ask you one question quickly. So Old School Square was a hot topic in 2022, as you know,
Yes,
and it
yeah.
seems to have been settled by bringing in the DDA to activate the site. So what lessons did the city learn in terms of handling its not-for-profit assets, and what is your vision for repurposing Old School Square?
Thank you. And lots of lessons learned, I think. Unfortunately, when I got elected, the financial problems going on with the not-for-profit had been going on for a very long time. But I think there wasn't a desire to address them. I think there were reprimands going on, there were questions, there were suggestions, but there wasn't a desire to actually do anything. Unfortunately, this was not the desired outcome that I would have liked. I would have liked to have the financial compliance come into place and have them continue working with us. But to date, we still don't know where the taxpayers' money went. What that has done to the other partners is, and very well because you're involved in this process, unfortunately, now the other partners have had their contracts changed, become more restrictive. And a lot of people came out of this concern, but I value all of our partners in the city and appreciate you and want to continue working, but also have the duty of a responsibility to the residents. With respect to Old School Square, I'm so excited about where we are going. Whether we wanted to be here or not, we're here, and I appreciate the DDA stepping up. Everybody knows Laura Simon and the DDA. They don't do anything that isn't really quality. So I look forward to a very active campus. We are working on the Crest Theater. I expect it will be open and better than ever. I want to see great activity in the school. The museum is currently open and it's free. We still have the concerts going on, and the field house is functioning as it did before. I view it as bigger and better and definitely more inclusive. One of the things that I had heard was, a lot of our partners didn't feel like they could utilize that to the extent that they liked. And I would hope that everybody would feel comfortable being there, going there, and utilizing that facility. I think it's going to be amazing. And I hope one day that the people who are involved in the non-for-profit can also appreciate it as well.
Okay, you're right on time.
Fabulous.
So you guys are doing very good with your timekeeping. So thank you very much, Juli Casale, for joining us
My
today.
pleasure. Okay.
Take care.
Thanks. Have a great day. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now we have Rob Long, who is running for seat 2 as well. Rob, you're here with us, aren't you?
Hello.
He's there. Okay, so we've run over by about a minute for each one. So we're starting just a minute late with you, but I've got your 10 minutes scheduled here. So go, give us a brief bio, tell us why you're running for city commission and what are your top 3 priorities.
Sounds good. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Stephanie, and to the chamber for hosting this forum this morning. And thanks for everyone who's tuned in. So I've been serving all of you for the last 6 years in the elected role as chair of the Palm Beach Soil and Water Conservation District. I just passed the gavel on that 2 weeks ago, actually, when we had our new members sworn in. And I was honored to receive the award for public service from the National Association of Clean Water Agencies last year for my service and advocacy for clean water right here in Delray Beach. So concurrently, I've also been serving on city boards for the last 6 consecutive years. I started with the Green Implementation Advancement Board, then I went on to the Site Plan and Review Board, and I just finished up my 2nd term on the Planning and Zoning Board in August. I also was serving on the board of this chamber prior to this campaign. I'm a civil engineer and a small business owner. My company is called Door to Door Strategies. We focus on community engagement and polling. So my company began in 2018 I started for the same reason that I'm running today, which is to give residents more access to their local government. So why am I running? I'm running to bring my experience and professionalism to the Delray Beach Commission. I think it's clear by the recent string of controversies in the papers, including city manager turnover, lawsuits, and fines from the Department of Health, that our city isn't exactly firing on all cylinders. What we're missing on the dais right now, I believe, is collaboration and transparency. For my last 6 years on the Soil and Water Conservation District, I worked with the National Wildlife Refuge, Mounds Botanical Gardens, our school district, the county, state legislatures, and the Florida Department of Agriculture to create educational programs for Palm Beach County students, conserve hundreds of millions of gallons of water per year, and educate residents on drinking water issues right here in Delray Beach. So I believe that relationships and partnerships are the key to solving residents' needs and resolving dysfunction at City Hall. So I've been campaigning for several months now. I've had conversation with my friends and neighbors throughout the city, every corner of the city. Whether I'm like at a forum like this, for instance, or sitting for coffee with a resident, or going through an endorsement screening with one of our unions, I notice a common theme. People want to be heard, and they want someone on the dais they feel like they can partner with, that they can collaborate with. Our city is starving for healthy relationships, and it's over all the drama right now. What I bring to the table is experience, history of working collaboratively to serve my constituents, transparency, and ethical leadership. That's why I'm endorsed by Representative Juli Casale, Representative Catherine Waldron, 4 of Delray's former mayors, our police and fire unions, our teacher union, and our labor unions, AFL-CIO and SEIU. And no, there are no strings attached with those endorsements. Those are just merely folks that I will collaborate with and work with when I am a city commissioner. So top 3 priorities. Priority 1, public safety. I'll always support our police and fire departments. After contract negotiations extended like 9 months past their deadline, we lost a lot of our officers to other cities and or sheriff's office. I'm committed to working with the department to fill those vacancies, maintain enough officers to keep our community safe. Same goes for our fire department. Fire and EMS response time is critical for resident safety and quality of life. Our first responders trust me to listen to their concerns and work with them on solutions. That's why I'm proudly endorsed by our Delray's police and fire unions. So the second priority is managing Delray's success. What I mean by that is, as your commissioner, I'll carefully review proposals to ensure they're compatible with the surrounding community. There's definitely no one-size-fits-all policy in Delray Beach, and I'll take a neighborhood by neighborhood approach that includes input from residents in the area and provides tangible benefits to our city. Part of achieving that starts with ensuring our city's land development regulations align with the resident crafted comprehensive plan, so all future projects fit within those guidelines, such as prioritizing housing needs. And all my votes on planning and zoning fit within those guidelines as well. And I wanted to add that comparing a planning and zoning record to a commissioner's record is apples to oranges. On a planning and zoning board, we vote for recommendations on zoning, not on entire projects. We don't even have site plans many of those times. So you can't really compare the two. Anyway, my third priority is transparency and accountability. As a commissioner, when I make a decision, I will have heard all sides of the issue, conferred with experts on the subject, and be open about my thought process. I don't fear being wrong, and I value the input of my neighbors and residents. Residents should hold me accountable for my words and actions. I'll empower city administrators and staff to leverage their own expertise and experience for the city's benefit. And I'll support our community partners and work to settle the lawsuit with Old School Square and focus on hopefully creating a partnership between the DDA and the nonprofit that managed that campus for 30 years that was blindsided by that decision. So hopefully we can take some of the burden off of taxpayers and re-engage that donor pool. Because right now, Old School Square is a major burden to taxpayers, probably to the tune of about $3 million. So that's all I have. I would love to answer a question if I have time.
Yes, you do. I have 3 minutes for you. So Delray Beach has joined a national lawsuit against the makers of toxic chemicals that enter the drinking water, chemicals known as PFASs. I think I said that right. Delray's got a plan for at least $60 million towards water safety, a new water plant. Representative Frankel has secured $11 million for the plan, but that's not the full amount. What would you do to secure the water supply, and how would you pay for the remaining portion of the infrastructure improvements?
All right, that's a big one. There's a lot of history here. I'll try and go through what I can on that. Thanks for the question. So, the water issues get confusing in Delray. It's important to know that the reclaimed water issue that we had and we were fined $1 million from the Department of Health for is a separate issue that often gets conflated with the PFAS situation that you brought up, Stephanie. So I'll just focus on PFAS, but I just wanted to make that clear. So new advisory levels just came out, went into effect this year from the EPA. I don't believe Delray currently meets them. I don't think a lot of cities do though. So that's not really Delray's fault at this point. But even under the much less stringent advisory limits that existed before, the PFAS levels in Delray were concerning. There was a nonprofit called Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility, I think was the name of it. They warned about PFAS levels in Delray Beach being higher than they should be. They still technically were within the limits, but they're higher than a lot of other cities. And there was some question as to whether all the constituents that we should have been looking at were being accounted for. But it got very confusing. But anyway, at the time, the mayor and my opponent pushed back on that and kind of accused the group of exaggerating that danger. I raised further awareness in my role as Soil and Water Conservation District Chair. Unfortunately, the mayor and my opponent attempted to remove me from the Planning and Zoning Board at the time. They sort of began this smear campaign against me, actually. It is important to note that this was right before the mayor's election. So that's really probably why that happened. But to fast forward later that year, the Department of Health recognized that same risk and ordered the city to do quarterly PFAS testing for the remainder of the year. Now, fast forward to last year, I think, was when the lawsuit, or they joined the class action lawsuit. So I think a judge in like South Carolina basically consolidated all these cases into a class action lawsuit from all over the country. And the commission voted to join that class action lawsuit, which I praised them for. I thought it was a good idea. Apparently, I think the hope is that some of the money from that settlement will go towards paying for the water treatment plant, along with the 11 million that Lois, or Congresswoman Lois Frank, was able to secure through the American Rescue Plan. So I believe that water plant is slated to be built in the next 2 to 3 years. I think it's the budget's within 150 to 200 million dollars, and I believe a revenue bond is what the current plan is to pay for that, which means we'll borrow the money and then use increases in the water bill to pay for it. And I think that's already started, because our water bill did go up. But again, we went from one of the cheapest water bills in the county, basically the middle of the pack, but we may see that bill increase to cover this revenue bond over the next few years. What's important to keep in mind with the conversation about clean water is, okay, it never really ends. It's a moving goalpost, right? The standard just changed. And that doesn't mean that all of a sudden our water isn't fine. It means maybe it hasn't been for a long time and we're just more aware of it now. So as a leader, you have to be willing to take in data and improve and evolve. As we move forward, I'll make sure this plant doesn't just meet the standards of today, but the standards of tomorrow too. So at least staying one step ahead. You know, why I think instead of misleading residents about water safety, it's important that we educate residents on water safety, because there are things folks can do about PFAS at home. There are cheap ways to reduce the risk of that contamination at home. And we need a commissioner more focused on safety than on PR. And I've already shown that I put residents first. And that's why I hope you'll support me for city commission.
Right on time.
Boom.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Rob. And I want to thank all of the candidates for zooming in today. I know that you really had to clear a lot on your schedules to do so, but I appreciate having all of you here. So that concludes our candidates forum. We'll see you on first Friday in March, and I think we'll be talking about housing bond. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.